Hey guys, welcome to another DIY episode from Curiosity. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how you can modify a front kit bumper to fit your car. In this video, I'm converting a second generation front kit to fit on a first generation 3000 GT. That is why I only need the top half of the bumper. The rest is pretty much exactly the same, so I'll need to start with cutting it off with a grinder. Now that I have finished cutting the top of the factory bumper, I'm gonna have to place it on top of the second generation front kit just to make sure all the lines and gaps line up nicely. Now that I am satisfied with the way everything is lining up, I'm gonna have to start drawing the line of where I'm going to be cutting the second generation bumper. To do that, you really need to be careful how you draw the line, because it is very important not to have any gaps between the two halves of the bumpers when you join them together.
This guy with the knife, so he tries to cry. Who knows why? Mickey did Steve said it's paid. I got it, so we just I heard it. So what's the story goes? No one even knows the truth. What's hidden inside me head? Turn me into something I want to be. This is crazy, the way people are treating me. Hey, you want a piece of me? If you spin a piece and then walk in my head, but if you know I'm real, but a piece of my head.
Now that I have finished cutting the top half of the second generation front kit, I'm going to place the factory bumper right on top just to make sure everything lines up perfectly once again. And once I am satisfied with the way things are lining up, I'm going to be moving on to the next stage. On my next stage, I drew tiny little holes 10mm apart all alongside of the two halves of the bumper. That way I can use stainless steel wire to join the two halves together. To join it together, I am making sure the two halves are under so much tension to lock the two parts together. That way, when you try to move them, they won't have any play between the two bumpers, and they will feel like one solid part. Now that I have finished stitching the two halves together, I came to realize the back of the bumper is actually slightly longer than the factory one. But that's not a problem. All I have to do is cut some of the back off to make the same length as a factory bumper. To do that, I'm using a laser level. That way it will help me cut a perfectly straight line in both sides to be exactly the same. Now that I have finished cutting the excess off, I'm going to be using a temporary wire stitching to stitch the sides together. To do that, I'm going to have to put a few stitches just to line up everything perfectly while I'm getting it fiberglassed.
This is all for the things I did. I don't want to run myself like a kid, that's it. I don't want to go crawl back on my hips, looking for the lips. What lips? Those lips. Screw these kids. I don't want to lose myself over this like the president did with his wife and his kids. Watching those Americans spit like this, I'm a wrestler with a messless piss. You know what this is.
Once the sides were completed, I started fiberglassing the two halves of the bumpers together. That way, it will give it extra strength and prevent the wire from corrosion in the future. While waiting for the fiberglass resin to cure, I decided to kill some time, but later on I realized I was way too high from sniffing all the resin fumes, and it led me to do that.
No one ever knows the truth, what's hidden inside me head. Turn me into something I don't want it to be. This is crazy the way people are treating me. Hey, what? You want a piece of me? With a fist on my face and a book in my head, writing every rhyme.
Once I was back to normal, I decided to remove the factory bumper from my car while the fiberglass resin is setting. That way, it will be easy to fit it in straight away. Once the resin was set, I was able to fit the bumper back into the car to get it ready for third stage, which is to use a filler to seal the joints and prime it ready for painting. And of course, here's the end result. Now thanks for watching guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can do that by simply clicking the subscribe button that pops up on the screen. And if you want to know what is more destructive, shooting an item freestanding versus backed up to a solid surface, you can do that by clicking the video on the left. In the process you see me destroying a Samsung Galaxy S2 with a 308. And if you want to watch a hunter's eye view, you can do that by clicking the video on the right. You'll see me going on a hunting trip where I wear the camera on my head and you get to see what I see and how I shoot the deer.